The first ever job I did was as a filing clerk for an employment agency.
A coal miner.
I remember working in a hospital in Ealing, the hospital that my mother used to clean.
My father was a car salesman. He ran his own business. Although he was very keenly interested in politics, he was something of an armchair politician.
We didn't know a local councillor. We certainly didn't know the local MP.
My parents were both local councillors.
My interest in politics was triggered because of the kind of family I lived in, because we sat around the tea table talking about politics, talking about current affairs. We always discussed things as a family.
From very small things like the fact that girls at my secondary school weren't allowed to wear trousers as part of the school uniform, to obviously much larger things in terms of, international debt and the Jubilee 2000 campaign.
When I was 17, just made me think, on our life chances really dictated about where we live, where we grow up, how much money our parents have in their pockets, and is that really fair?
One tends to get sort of passionate about these things when you feel there's an injustice or unfairness going on, so you get I found myself getting more and more sort of stuck into those issues.
One of my earliest political memories was actually the Berlin Wall coming down.
In my first year at university, the election of Margaret Thatcher.
William Wilberforce is a great hero of mine.
Fenner Brockway and Joan Lester, they were both prepared to stand up for what they believed in.
David Blunkett, because I could see that he could succeed in politics, and if a blind man could, then someone in a wheelchair could.
Muhammad Ali in his prime, and he wasn't just a sporting hero, he was actually a political hero as well.
Tony Benn, who I've just been talking with today.
And perhaps I'm mesmerised by Obama.
You don't see the results of what you do straight away. It's a very long-term shift, and often the difference that you make is just not noticeable for years and years and years.
It was a tough process to go through, to gain experience, to work one's passage.
It is hard work. It can be quite upsetting and heartbreaking because the people you meet and sometimes can't help.
But you can look back and think, that wouldn't have been like that unless I'd been part of it.
I think the campaign of which I'm most proud has been the campaign to secure an improvement in the quality of services to children and young people with speech, language and communication difficulties.
Campaigning on climate change, and as the youngest MP, I feel a bit of a responsibility that we're setting up these problems for future generations.
You wouldn't believe some of the problems that people come into my office with, and they've all got to be solved because it's the biggest problem on their mind at the time, and they need someone to solve it. And members of Parliament can't do that.
My proudest achievements are really the individual successes I've had, where I know that because they contacted me, I was able to make a difference to their life.
Politics is a means to that end. It isn't an end in itself.
And politics is so important if we are going to make this world a better and safer place.
You could be like me, a good fiery old backbencher.
Politics is really just about everyday life. Whether it's transport or health or education or taxation rates.
If you want to make changes and make the world a better place, the tool and the device to do that is politics.
Politics means a lot to me. It's not everything in life, but it is a fantastic opportunity for people engaged in it in Parliament to represent an area, to stand up for people and their interests, and to fight for causes that are dear to one's own heart.